Now get an expert insight on the cancellation of the North Korea U.S. summit and what this may mean for not only North Korea and the U.S., but also for South Korea. I'm now joined on Skype by David Schmerler, a research associate at the James Martin Center for Nonproliferation Studies. So David, what would this mean for North Korea-U.S. relations?
Okay, so the cancellation clearly was a surprise to everyone. Reading the response out of the Blue House, it seemed like they were caught totally off guard. So that shows that there wasn't much in the way of communication between President Trump and President Moon. But as to what does it lead up to for any future talks, it seems like both parties were open to continuing the dialogue, just not at this moment.
Now, hours after Trump canceled the summit, North Korea responded by saying that it's still willing to resolve issues with the U.S. So what path do you think North Korea will take from here on out?
Well, I think at this moment, it seems like the North Koreans are going to play it cool. At least I certainly hope so. There was some speculation that we might get some type of missile test and defiance for the Americans canceling the summit. However, again, the North Korean statement and the Trump's interestingly worded letter seem to leave open the possibility of the summit happening in the future, maybe when the expectations on both sides are matched.
And President Trump apparently didn't tell South Korea about his decision when he met with President Moon in Washington this week. So with that in mind, what was Seoul's reaction to all this?
Well, at least from what I've read, it seems like the Blue House was caught totally off guard. Just browsing through Yonhap, it seems apparent that they're unsure of President Trump's intentions for the summit or future summits or relations on the Korean Peninsula. So I think right now the Blue House is trying to reassess how to bring both parties back to the table, especially the American side. I think this is a bunch of compounding issues. I think probably one of the last nails in the coffin for the Trump administration in this talk was seeing that the pre-summit delegation in Singapore was blown off by the North Koreans for 3 days. That's not to say necessarily that it's not entirely flawless in the Trump administration, because there was still a lot of rhetoric coming down to what brought the North Koreans to the table that I found a bit unnecessary, more pandering towards each party's constituents and whatnot. But yeah, I think it was that compounding on mixed or missed expectations as to what the North Koreans were going to offer at the summit.
But the U.S. and North Korea both did leave the door open for renewing the diplomatic thaw. So what are the chances that we might see the summit take place at a later date?
I certainly hope that they're higher than the chances that they look like they're going to happen now. Again, I think this has a lot to do with expectation setting. I think after the Trump administration was promoting this idea that North Korea was going to denuclearize immediately, and if not immediately, in a short period of time, didn't quite match the reality of what the North Koreans were willing to offer or what they were willing to work on as a negotiation point. So as soon as the administration finds a point where they feel comfortable that they can talk with the North Koreans and achieve some type of mutually agreeable goal, we might see this conversation happen again.
Now, Trump's letter came just after North Korea said it had completely dismantled its Punggye nuclear test site to, quote-unquote, ensure the transparency of discontinuance of nuclear tests. So is there any significance to the timing of the cancellation from Trump?
Again, I think this is just a bunch of compounding misconceptions on the Trump administration as to the intentions behind what the North Koreans were willing to offer. One of the points that myself and a bunch of my colleagues at various institutions who study the topic have noted is that the North Koreans don't necessarily need to continue nuclear testing at the site. So while it was a kind offer, I guess, towards the reapproach of relations between the two countries, I think the bigger issue was what was the ultimate takeaway from the impending summit. And since the expectations weren't matched and the U.S. advanced delegation was blown off, that Trump felt it was necessary to postpone the talks.